Okay, so we are right in the middle right now well, sorry. First off, I'm sharing my screen. Hopefully everyone can see that on the Zoom. What this is basically what the app looks like now on your mobile phones. If you have an Android mobile phone, the OJL that I'm about to show you is already out and released to the Android store. We hope that Apple will be releasing it any time now. With the holidays and everything else, Apple has been a little slow on releasing and approving updates to apps, but it is there, and we hope that it will be approved here any day now. So what I'm showing you now is what it will look like on your phone on my internet browser. So if anybody has seen the mobile app, this is basically the same thing it looks like. So after you log into the mobile app, you'll get to the home screen. You can click on the member button down here at the bottom. On the member button, it gives you just a member summary of your member profile. Under My Member Options, here are all the different options that each member has. However, there's a new option called OnTheJob Learning. That option will only show up if the member is an apprentice. So if a member is something other than apprentice, journeyman, or any other status or class, they will not see this button. They have to be an apprentice in order to see this button. Once an apprentice clicks on that button, they will have a list of the current hours they've entered in. They'll have options to add work hours, add class hours, and send a report, which will be the weekly or monthly report, depending on what your district council uses. This is a demo user, so I've already kind of pre-populated some stuff in here. So right here, we have the date of when the user entered in for the hours, the employer they were working for, the skill that they were doing, and how many hours they were working for. This one has a pencil underneath of it because it's within the last 2 days. So if a user has entered in something within the last 2 days, those users are allowed to edit that information. I'll show you right now what that looks like. So from right here, I just click the edit button. It brings up all the information that they had, and they can edit it from here. I'm gonna go back. All these other hours down here don't have the edit button because those hours are longer than 2 days or prior than 2 days. So we don't want the users going through and editing old records because we're afraid that might affect some of the administration records. However, all the admins will be able to go into IMS and edit the records, and I'll show that here in a little while. So from a normal day, a user would come in here, they could click their add work hours. From here, we try to help the user with less entry. So we automatically autofill with the last information that the user has entered in. So the last information that he entered in was this ABCO restoration. They can simply highlight it, remove it, and they can type in any other employer right now. So if I type in just another ABC, it will list all the employers that we have on record. So we'll just choose this Mabcon Drywall. From here, I can choose the month and day that we need to, and any years. Now, every apprentice in IMSC, and I will show you that in a second, has to have an apprenticeship program assigned to them. That apprenticeship program is equal to the competencies that are out there in the FTI world. So this user has the painting apprenticeship program assigned to him, so he only sees the painting trades that are available to him and that are underneath of that competency. So if I went to commercial, I would then only see the skills that are labeled to that competency. So from here, I can go in and choose vacuuming, and then I can enter the amount of hours that I want to put in. So say I worked on vacuuming for 4 hours today. We then have two options down at the bottom. The save and continue is, I'll do that real quick. I'll save and continue. What that does is it leaves everything here because we know that some people may enter 1 hour for this, 2 hours for that on the same day. So save and continue means we're going to save that record and we're going to go right back into the same thing we were just working on. I can then say I was done vacuuming and I did some texturing today and I did that for 4 hours. And then once I'm done with adding hours, I can hit complete and I'll go back to my screen. So here are the 2 hours I just entered in. I entered in the vacuuming for 4 hours and the decorative texturing for 4 hours. It's the same exact process for add classroom hours. You would choose the training center that the district council is involved with. This will only pull whatever training centers have been entered in for the members' district council. So this member is a part of DC 51, for an example. So it has the International Training Center and then the Finishing Trades Institute of Maryland's Training Center as well. So I can go in here, I can choose my date, just like we did before, and type in the amount of hours that it was on that day. So we'll move this back like the 23rd. I have the same buttons for save and continue and complete. We are not listing the classroom hours out here. However, we are keeping track of them on the app and also on the reports. So onto the reports. Here's the send hours report. To click this button, this is for the users to either request a weekly or a monthly report. So they can simply choose weekly or they can choose monthly. Depending on the week, if they choose weekly, they can choose any day in that week. So Saturday through Sunday. If they choose the 15th, which I believe was a Thursday, it will send the weekly report for that specific week. Right now, this user's email address is support@ipat.org. So the member's email address will already be pre-populated. Then once they're ready to send the report, they can just hit send hours reports. It will then come out and say your report's been submitted, and it will go there.
Okay. So Kurt, we have a question from District Council 6, Carly. She asked, who puts the training centers?
So your district council admin that does all the administration for IMSE will be able to put the training centers into IMSE for you if they're not there already.
Okay. And same applies to the trade. If the trade is not right or the apprenticeship program is not right, the IMSE admin needs to make the changes. Then for the skills, all these skills have been reviewed, analyzed, and sent to the GEB for approval. So if you have anything to add for the skills, you have to send it to support@iupat.org, and we will review it and reply back to you if they will be added to the list of skills.
Okay.
Okay.
So that's the gist of the app. So the members will be able to review their last couple of days of hours. They'll be able to edit, add hours, and then send the hours report. Real quick, going back to the send hours report, it will automatically fill in their email address. They can then type in somebody else's. They can add, I think, up to 5 different people. So I could type in, for instance, my email address, or if they wanted to send this to their employer, they could send that to their employer, and they could add up to, I believe, 5 email addresses, and the report will be automatically generated and sent to them. That's all I have on the app. If we have any questions, we could answer them later when we get back into there. Right now, I'm going to go back and share IMSE.
Yeah, so for the app, we have a handout that the district councils can use. It would talk about how to download the app, what are the information found on the app. So together with the roster of participants, Manisha will send that handout together with the PowerPoint that gives you more information about the app, just in case your membership is not using or your district council is not fully using the app, the IUPAT app. Okay, now Kurt is showing us the IMSC demo, and this is for the admin interface and basically used for reporting. Wait, there's a question from Anthony. So is there still a place to list hours if they are laid off?
So that's actually where we're getting to now, is to list all the hours for a member. So this is the admin portion. This is not what a member would see. This is what the FTI admins or any IMSE admin can look up on a member. So, and I'm sure some of you have not seen IMSE, so if some of you haven't and need some training, please don't hesitate to email support or contact Donna for some additional training. But you probably have an IMSE admin there local to your district council, so you can ask them as well for some quick training.
And we, with the invite, we send out the form, the IMSE request form. So if you don't have any IMSE account, send that form to imscsupport@agapet.org. And if you need training, let us know.
All right, so from here, I'm going to go in. This is the front page of IMSE. So I'm going to go into member management and membership.
Okay, question from Wendy. How will the apprentice know that he or she has access to this information within the app?
If they log in, if they create an account and log into the member app, they have access to it.
Yeah, so similar to the LMS, every member has an account on the LMS and on the app.
Correct. So from here, I'm going to do a search for my member. You can do this, you can search by member ID if you know it. You can search by first name, last name. You can, depending on your access, you might be able to, if you have district council access, you could narrow it down by local union if you needed to. So real quick, my user that I'm working with is support. So there's only one person in the membership database that's named support, so it brought up our whole record here. So I want to highlight one thing real quick. Here's the apprenticeship program that we were talking about earlier. Every apprentice, in order to be able to use OJL, will need to have an apprenticeship program designated to them. I'm going to click edit to show you what it looks like. So underneath of this, here are the apprenticeship programs that are available. We have everything from core to coding application specialist, drywall finishing, floor covering, glazer, blaster vacuum technician, painter decorator, sign and display worker, trade show worker and exhibit builder, and metal polisher. So this one was painter decorator. I'm going to cancel back out. So from here, if you want to look up the members' hours, you can go to the education tab.
Just to clarify, so for the apprenticeship program, we automatically assign the apprenticeship program based on the trade, right?
We have for apprentices that exist now.
Existing apprentices. But moving forward, the IMSE admin has to select the right program.
Correct.
Correct. And we have a question from District Council 30. Could an apprentice or the app have the opportunity to upload a picture of their pay stub? So it's more for validation of hours.
So we'll talk about validation here in a second, but that is actually something that we're looking to for the future of this. We've already talked about that, and we are definitely looking in not only just for the pay stubs, but we're also looking at for certifications as well, so that members can upload their certifications to their member file. So that's most likely going to be a version 2. Please bring questions. This is really our first knack at it. We tried to take as much of the specs that we got from all the different district councils, and we tried to build as much into this first version as we could. We know there are going to be some things that are left out, and there's going to be some enhancements that people want. So please do not hesitate to send them in, and we will review them all.
And this might be related to the features that we want to add to the app or the import certifications.
That's what I'm, yeah.
Yep. To have the ability to take their certificate and upload it, and this might be similar. If they have the pay stub, take a picture.
Correct. Mm-hmm. So here on the education tab,
one more question.
Yeah, there is a question.
So we have another question. So it's again about verification. So who verifies class hours entered? What if more?
What if there are more than what they actually?
Okay, so verification again. So the classroom hours, we added that feature because it was part of every monthly report that we've seen, the paper-based monthly report from the district councils. However, in the LMS, there's a way to upload classroom completions with credited hours. So now it's up to the district council how they use the data. So the apprentices might be using this feature, or your admin can just upload the completions through the LMS. but eventually we want to verify both in the next phase of this project. Okay, so another question, you're missing the glassworker apprenticeship program.
Are we?
It's not there?
I don't know. We'll verify that.
Yeah, so let me just write that down.
So real quick, we'll keep going on with the with how it looks on the admin portion. So I clicked on the education tab here. Down here in the bottom, we have the on-the-job learning and the classroom-related instruction. So I can select whatever date I want to search on this member. So let's just say we're going to search from November 1st to November 30th. I can click search. So here's all the hours that this person has entered in. Of course, this is what I have entered in. We have 2 pages here. So if I go to next, here's the MapCon drywall stuff that we just entered in a couple of minutes ago on the app. So you'll notice here that it has the employer, the date, the trade, the skill, the member reported hours. Now the member reported hours are what the actual member entered in on the app. The employer reported hours are meant for you guys to use to verify these hours with the employer hours you received. So we've talked to a couple district councils. Some district councils do this manually. Some district councils get a report from different funds monthly. Some get a report from employers monthly. So what this is intended to do is to be able to have you a total for this month is 130 hours, and then you can actually upload your employer reported hours. Now they're not going to match hour for hour because you guys probably don't know, the employer doesn't keep track of what they're doing on their side. So you probably upload for this member that, you know, maybe for this month you got 130 hours. You can come over here to add OJ hours. You can type in the employer here, put the employer reported hours for there, so that when you type that in there, it would show up for the employer total hours here. My computer is slowing down for some reason.
Okay, while we're waiting for that to upload, we have a question from Natalie. So her question is it going to eliminate the work process cards completely? That's one of the reasons to why we have the OJL project. A lot of district councils said that their admins are spending too much time on data entry, and it's 2 hours a day, and that can be used in other or more productive admin tasks. So, but you have to talk to your DOT. How do you want to transition to the? How do you want to transition using the OJL through the app and through IMSC? But the purpose of the OJL project is to eliminate the manual entry and the paper-based monthly work reports or the process cards.
I believe some district councils actually call them blue books.
Yep.
Yep. So that is the purpose of this. So real quick, so here's all the hours. Let's say you wanted to, download or export them for someone. Right over here, again, I have my search for all of November. I can click on this button here, which will then open up my Excel documents. I'm only sharing one thing, so let me share my whole screen here. All right, so there's the Excel documents. So if you wanted to pull every single member for a year for this person, you could. You could export it into Excel. You could give it to them. You could, have maybe an employer verify it or anything else. But it's available there in Excel for you to run any type of report you want to. You can also download it in PDF, which is basically the same exact view as you saw, but just in a PDF version. Also, from this view, an admin can go in here and send a report for a member. They could come in, they could type in apprentice weekly report, a monthly report. So we'll do a monthly report. We'll do it for the month of November. So I can choose any date in here. I'll just say November 12th. I can type my email address in there, and it will send an email. But right now, I'm just going to generate the report. So here's what the weekly report, or the monthly report, excuse me, is going to look like. So let me make sure I got too many things on my screen. So here's what the monthly report looks like. So since this is probably an unusual person, but this person's worked for 1, 2, 3, 4 different employers, and he's took classes in 2 different training centers. So if you look up here for this employer, these are all the brush and roll hours he has. These are all the concrete paint hours he has for this employer, decorating and gliding hours he had. So vice versa, you have employer totals, and then down towards the bottom, you actually have actual totals of all the hours that sum up in crew. We did also put in a supervisor's signature as well. And since this is kind of an unusual person, it actually went to 2 pages. So that's just how this report turned out to be. But this guy is doing a lot of things over the last 3 months, or over the last month. So this is an example of a monthly worker report. The weekly report looks pretty much exactly the same. It's just for the current week. We know that there's going to be some things in here that other people want, or possibly even some things that people want to take out. Again, this is just our first stab at it. We're trying to draw a median and try to get everything that everyone wants, but we know we're not going to get everything.
Okay, Kurt, we have a question from 21. It's related to what you just showed us. They're asking a copy of the report. Do you have like the samples that
we just showed it?
Is it similar to the email that's sent out once they click send me the report?
Yeah, so the report is exactly what I just showed.
Mm-hmm. So that is for both from the app and from the IMSC side, right?
They're the exact same report.
Okay, so that's the template.
And we after this call, we'll send out a couple of screenshots and what the report actually looks like, so you can show your DOT or some of the members as well.
Yeah, so if they don't have access to IMS, the
member can do it.
Send it to them and they can view the same report.
Yep, so the apprentice can pull it up on the app and run the same report.
Okay, cool. Next, Carly, how far can we go back?
As far as you want. I can change this to as far back as I want to go, January 2017 if I want to, and hit that. I could then search OJL, and if I had hours going back that far, it would give it to me. Of course, this is just a demo account. So that's what all we have in here. But yes, you can go back as far as you want to. It may give you numerous pages over here if they have a lot of hours entered in. But you can go back as far as you can, and then you can export it if you want to do any type of reporting in Excel or anything like that. One thing I don't have ready to show you today that is going to be available soon is the export for all the members. So we will be able to have an export. You'll be able to search all your members in your district council and or local union and look at their total reported hours and build a report off of that. So that if the DOT wants to take a look at all the apprentices and see what their total hours are reported, we'll have that report for you, as well as the place to do a mass upload of employer hours. We know some district councils get a CSV file from either a trusted fund and or the employer. So as long as we can have a member ID, the employer name, and the reported hours for that employee, or not employee, but member, you'll be able to mass upload all of those employer hours for every member in your district council that work on that report.
Okay, and that might be related to Anthony's question. Does the total add employee reported hours and employer reported hours together? For phase 2, right?
Well, no. So right now we have a total members hour here, and then you have employer total hours. So the only people that can touch employer reported hours are the admins. A member can't touch that. So we assume that either you're going to upload the employer reported hours into the interface, or you're going to be adding them manually, depending on how you got those before. I'm not for sure how you got them before. But then you'll have your totals down here. So you could run a report. Let's say you wanted to do, 6 months, and you wanted to look at 6 months worth of information. You could say, June 1st to November 30th, and do a search. That would give you your total member reported hours for that 6 months, and whatever employer hours you returned for that 6 months.
Okay, another question from Wendy. What if the apprentice chose not to utilize or use the app to enter the work hours or classroom hours? So there's a way to do it on the IMSC, so the admin can enter the hours.
Yes. So if the apprentice doesn't want to use electronics or doesn't want to use the app or the mobile or the web interface that's coming here in the future, they don't want to use any one of those electronics, they can still do it paper format, and someone can still enter it in manually if they want to.
District Council 21's question, who's supposed to sign the report?
That is entirely up to each district council.
Yep.
So from the examples we got from different district councils, some of them showed that an employer signed a report. Some of them showed that a journeyman that's watching over the apprentice signed the report. Some of them showed that the DOT signed the report.
Or coordinator. We've also had conversations with district council that they don't even require a signature.
Right. So that's really up to you guys. We were just kind of left it there because we saw it on the majority of the examples that we got from district councils. We know that some district councils don't require it, and they may not even use the report, but it's a way to verify.
Question from District Council 11. With a future report generator for all members. So Kurt showed us a report per member. So the question now is, will we have something for all members or for all companies? So it's...
Which one are you looking at, Anthony?
The last one, Jesse.
Yeah, so the future report generator for all members. Yes, so for the all members, yes, you'll be able to sort by, you can sort by trade, you can sort by employer if you want to sort just by employer, and it will give you a member total. So it will look exactly like this, where you can select the date range. Then you'll be able to select an employer and or trade and skill. Now, this is only showing me the trades and skills that this member has available to him. So on the larger one for the district council, it will give you every trade available. So you'll be able to narrow it down as much as you want to, if you want to.
Okay, question from 30. What if the student doesn't have a smartphone? Could they utilize the training center or computer lab? Yes. Phase 2.
Yes, so yes, we hope to have that portion of it available at least by the end of the quarter, or at the end of first quarter next year. It most likely will be sooner, but that's what we're going for. There will be actually a member portal built that will look very, very similar to the member mobile app that members can log into and do everything that you saw on the app on a web page.
For now, the admin can manually enter them using IMS. Okay. Wendy, when will each district council begin using the features?
They are available right now. The only thing that's not available right this second is the iPhone Apple app. The update hasn't been approved by Apple, but we expect it to be approved any day now.
Yep. So IMSC, it's live. The Android version is live. So once we get an update from the iPhone, the App Store, we'll send out an email blast telling everybody that it's live. Got everything?
I think so.
Do you have any reminders?
I mean, the only reminders I'll go over with, again, real quick, is every apprentice needs to have an apprenticeship program in order for OJL to work properly. If they don't have an apprenticeship program, what will happen is their trade and skill will not fill out for them. They'll go into the OJL app and they won't have a drop down at all. It will just be, it will look like the skill one. It will be blank. So work with your IMSC admin, or if you have access to do it yourself, you need to change that apprenticeship program for each apprentice. If, and I think Donna mentioned this earlier, if the apprentice was already in the system as of last night, what we did is if they had a trade associated with them, we went ahead and put them in the same apprenticeship program as their trade. But for all new apprentices that come into the union, you're going to have to put that apprenticeship program there for him. So, and then to answer the question on the glass worker, the Glazer apprenticeship program is out there. Is there a separate, I don't think there's a separate glass worker program compared to Glazer, correct?
I'll verify.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's just a reminder to make sure we have the painter and decorator. And I'll just show real quick, if for all those of you watching, if I change this from painter decorator to Glazer, and save this. Oh, of course I got an error because I'm in our dev environment. So if I now go to education and scroll down here and I go to trade, or excuse me, if I go to add hours and I go to trade, oh, it's not going to work right now. It's not going to work because I'm in our dev environment. But what would happen is when they go to add, they would only have the Glacier trade, and they would only have the skills that are applicable to the competencies for the Glacier program.
Okay, question from District Council 6. Why is it showing on journeyman accounts as well, since it's only for apprentices?
Say again.
Why is it showing on journeyman's account when it's meant for apprentices? In IMSE, it will show on journeyman accounts. On the mobile app, it will not. So at this point in time, we don't have a way of hiding OJL for journeyman inside of IMSE, but that's the admin interface. So the members won't be using that. On the member side, and also the reason why it's also showing as well is we decided that once an apprentice becomes a journeyman, someone may want to go back and look at their apprentice hours. So we left it that way so that someone could go back and look at a journeyman's apprenticeship hours if they wanted to. So that's why on the IMSE admin side, you see OnTheJob Learning underneath of journeyman.
Okay, and clarification from 82 that there's an apprenticeship program for a glass worker. Okay, that's all the questions. Okay, so Kurt showed us the phase 1 of IMSE and the app. So for phase 2, we're expecting additional fields in the LMS. So that's more for duplication from the IMSE fields. Then we're working to validate all the reported hours. Then we're looking at more reporting features. Then the next one is the web portal that would be linked to the LMS. Question from Mike. Can the RI be used for journeyman upgrade classes?
That's up to the district council.
Yeah, I don't see why not,
but the app would only show to the apprentices, so they
right. So right now it's on the app, unless we know of a reason why the mobile app is only showing for apprentices. But if the DOT or the IMSE admin want to record stuff for a journeyman, it will be there. I believe ultimately the goal is the class hours will disappear from IMSE and the mobile app, and all the class hours will be recorded and used inside of LMS.
Or validate both data.
Right.
And there were conversations like district councils, and I know the general board were also talking like, after this, do we track journeyman hours? So that might be something that's a different project, but for now it would be just for apprentices. Okay, Wendy, is the district council required to use the system even if they have other ways of tracking hours?
That's up to the district council.
Yeah, and the project was launched because of the district council request. So this was one of the top requests from the DOTs.
Right. So we try to build a program for them. If you don't want to use it and you have another way of doing it, that is up to you. However, we're looking at using this information for other analytical reports down the road to track membership and what apprenticeships or what apprentices are doing inside of IMSE for district councils. So if you guys don't use this program, some of those reports won't be available. So one of the cool things that we've been looking at is if we start using this OJL hours, we'll be able to track to see district council wide, how many apprentices that we have that are actually working on, bridge versus industrial painting stuff. We'll also be looking at, how to calculate how many hours we have actually being used towards different skills and different trades. So if we wanted to find out, how many guys that we had out there that was, better at caulking versus painting or whatever skill might be out there, we can actually see how many apprentices that took more hours in that versus others. So no, you don't have to use it, but we built it based upon the request from a lot of district councils.
Yeah, and again, we mentioned that the OJL project affects the database, all the databases, the LMS, IMS, and the app. So if you're using another system, there's no way for the international to see your data unless you manually upload it or you manually enter it in one of the systems. So you might be having duplicate entries. So it's really up to the district councils. But we also have upcoming projects where we want to link this to other programs like the pension program, or Kurt mentioned about the validation of the work hours, and that's coming from the pension software. So there's so much potential that we're looking at just by using the app and entering the hours. So hopefully all the district councils, since they requested it, will be using the system. Okay, do we have new questions? Any other questions before we end the conference call? Okay. If the full membership is given access and it spans past OJL hours to course hours, how would this work in the LMS? For example, currently if I need to send a forklift cert by a group in the LMS.
I'm not sure I understand that question.
Yeah, so
I'm not sure we understand your question.
yeah, if you can clarify that question. So, okay, so yeah, 21 has a question.
They already asked it, I think.
Kurt, do you have anything to show them?
Nope.
Okay, so we'll unmute everybody, and if you have any questions, okay, there you go.
It's got a good heartbeat. It sounds like.
Can you mute it?
Muted now.
Okay.
I can't read who this is.
Okay, we're hearing a lot of static, so we unmuted everybody again. So
Someone logged in as administrator. Yeah. They're unmuted actually.
you can raise your hand. Then if you have a question, I can just unmute that person. But if you're the one who asked about the full membership, if you can clarify that.
Hello.
Yes?
You can hear me. Great. So currently, if I use the LMS to upload certificates, so for forklift, any of the journeyman upgrade classes that our apprentices also attend, you have to do it either by adding people to groups or you have to do it individually. Now, if the app is capable of doing OJT hours, is it also capable of allowing people to say they took that course, and then the administrator would just validate whether or not if that was true via the sign-in sheets that we receive?
So right now, the OJL is only available for apprentices. So if the member is an apprentice, then they can enter the hours. But that might take more validation from your end because you have to verify if they attended the class, which class they attended.
Now, if you're talking, if they took the class and the class hours are in LMS, and you want to verify the information that's in LMS, then yes, we're looking at doing that type of validation in phase 2 to do kind of a tie between LMS and the OJT or OJL hours. Is that kind of more of your question?
I want to say yes and no.
So we can take it offline. If you want to email Donna, we can take it offline so we can better understand it.
Okay.
Okay.
Does anybody else have any more questions?
Okay, I don't see anybody raising their hand. Okay. One question from Mike Kamarami. Can district council customize OJL?
Mike, we'll have to understand exactly what you mean by customize OJL. We can take that conversation offline as well.
Yeah, if it's new features, we can discuss it. If it's new set of skills, then it's possible. Just send that request to support@iupat.org. Any more questions? Okay. Anthony. So they're asking if we can add another column to let the apprentice declare journeyman at grade class. Okay, Anthony, can you clarify adding a column on the app or on the report?
Report.
Or I can.
He's muted on his side. We'll follow up with him.
Yeah, okay. We'll follow up with you regarding that question about adding columns.
Yeah, just to clarify, so they say they were sanding or they were brush and rolling. Couldn't there be a column that states that they had a journeyman upgrade class regardless of which one it was?
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, yes. I should say that. We'll have to get some further requirements around that, but yes, it is possible.
Yeah, and once you start seeing the data, and once you start seeing the reports and the emails, definitely you would have more suggestions, and we'd love for you to send all those suggestions, questions, or escalations to the support email, so support@iupat.org. And any of those, Kurt and I will review them, and if we're adding new skills or new features, we'll send out a blast to all the participants.
Brian Hepburn had a question.
Okay, so Brian, question about, again, customizing OJL skills to align with local apprenticeship standards. Okay, so that was the first step when we were doing the OJL project. First step is to get all the blue books or monthly report cards from all the regions. Then we worked with the SMEs, the DOTs, ATRs, to find all the skills aligned to the apprenticeship program. Then to satisfy the requirements of the OJL, we had to go back to the programs of study to align it with the competencies per trade. So those steps were already taken and verified, and once we have that list of all the skills, they were sent to the GEB for approval. And the skills that you're seeing now on the app, or you will be seeing on the app, are approved by the GEB. So any additional skill that you want to add, send it to support@iupat.org, and we will do the same thing, review and send it for approval.
Mike, you have a very good question, and it's something that we've talked about a couple different times. We have to figure out how we want to do that. We can send an email to the apprentice saying, you know, they haven't filled out their OJL or RI hours. But we were looking at doing that, and we had feedback from a couple of different district councils that they wouldn't want to do that. So that is something that we moved to phase 2. It's definitely something that we've thought about, but it's not in there right now.
Last call for questions. Just review it one more time. Okay, guys. Thank you for attending the webinar. We'll be sending you emails with the alert once the iPhone version is released. Then we'll be giving you some handouts that you can use for the app. And some of the questions that were asked, we compiled all the questions and we'll create an FAQ. Then the LMS homepage will be updated to include those frequently asked questions. Then again, if you have any questions, escalations, suggestions about the app or the IMSC side of the OJL project, let us know. Send an email to support@iupad.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.